Well. The Seattle Mariners have acquired Randy Arozarena from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Aiden Smith, Brody Hopkins, and pedigree, which is player to be named later in Chris Crawford language. I'm excited. And before you look at me, well, you can do it during too. If you want to say, Chris Crawford, why are you excited about a guy they just picked up who's hitting 211, who struck out 101 times and 350 at bats? I think you're missing the bigger picture, and you're missing a bunch of context too. But we'll talk about it. Let's go over those numbers again. Well, officially now. 100 games, 350 at bats, 211, 318, 394 is his slash. That's a 712 OPS, 15 homers, 37 RBI if you're into that sort of thing, 16 stolen bases in 23 attempts. A career slash of 256, 345, 442. That is a 787 career OPS over 587 career games. It seems like he's played more than that, but I think we forget that 2020 was a shortened year and he's been so much on the big stage that we've seen him so much. It seems like he's played a lot more than that, and we'll talk about that for sure. So Randy Arozarena, let's take a look at the Savant page, and this can get dangerous just judging a player by this, but you see the good, you see the bad, you see the really bad. But I think the good outweighs the bad. Let's talk about the bad. Number one, he swings and misses a lot. He has struck out in 24.8% of his plate appearances. That's in the 30th percentile. And he swings and misses 30.4% of the times. That's in the 16th percentile. He has not squared up the baseball very well this year. He's only hit it on the sweet spot 28.5% of the time. That's in the 7th percentile. And he's only squared up the baseball 23.8% of the time. That's in the 36th percentile. He's really strong. Even with those numbers, he's barreling the baseball 10% of the time. His hard hit percentage of 42.2 is in the 62nd percentile. Average exit velocity of 90.5 is also in the 70th percentile. Expected batting average is only 235, 26th percentile, but his expected weighted on base average is in the 69th percentile of 339, in part because this guy is very patient at the plate. It doesn't get talked about enough. He walks in 11.1% of his plate appearances in 2024. That's in the 83rd percentile. It is worth pointing out, and I know we are focusing on offense because Seattle Mariner fans should. He's not a great defender. He's an athletic guy. He has a flair for making the spectacular look routine. He also has some Teoscar Hernandez to him where he makes the routine look spectacular. Yep, there are some oof-magoofs with Randy Arozarena in the field. Range out above average is only in the 16th percentile. He gets a -3 score there. His arm value isn't very good either. He's not an accurate thrower, and he's not a particularly strong thrower. In left field, that doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot, but it's worth pointing out. So you may look at those numbers and say, well, Chris, there's a lot of stuff in the 60s and 70s here in the Savant page. How are his numbers so bad? Well, I'll tell you how his numbers are so bad. Randy Arozarena got off to an absolutely atrocious start to the season. So, over the first 30 games of the year, March, April, it's weird how Baseball Reference lists it April, March, by the way. Whatever. 123 plate appearances, and to say he struggled is a 143 batting average, 220 on base percentage, and a 241 slugging mark. He struck out 36 times in 123 plate appearances, or 36 times in 112 at bats to really drive this home. He also had a batting average of balls in play of 178, which, look, that adds to some bad luck. But you hit 143 and you strike out that often, you can't really just blame it on luck, can you? In May, it gets better, but it's still not good. 26 games, 107 plate appearances, 178, 299, 400. Does hit 5 homers. He steals 3 bases in 7 attempts. Batting average on balls in play of 196. Again, bad. Again, some bad luck with the batting average in balls in play. But you can't really blame it when you're swinging and missing that much, right? Here comes June. 25 games, 99 plate appearances, 291, 424, 468. That's an 893 OPS with 3 homers and 3 stolen bases. Batting average on balls in play of 333, a perfectly normal number for a 291 hitter. July, it's only 75 plate appearances, but 288, 373, 576, 4 homers, 6 stolen bases, and 7 attempts. Here's the big difference. He struck out 36 times in March, April. He has struck out 34 times combined in the 41 games since June 1st. And let's take a look at the from June 1st numbers, okay? 43 games. He has hit 7 homers. He has driven in 17 runs. He's walked 20 times. The 34 strikeouts that I mentioned. 9 stolen bases and 12 attempts. He's hit 290, 402, 517. That's a 920 OPS. That is close to half a year. It's 57 games that he's played before June 1st. It's 43 after. For 43% of the year, look how good I am at math. Randy Arozarena has been an elite offensive option. There's simply no denying it. There's also no denying that for the first 57 games of the year, Randy Arozarena was trash. And he didn't add value on the bases, and he didn't add value with the glove. I believe Randy Arozarena is much closer to the 43 game sample than the 57 game sample, based on what he's done over his career. Let's take a look at some other splits because people are always interested in this kind of stuff. The platoon splits. Randy Arozarena has held his own against right-handers and gone to work against southpaws. His career slash against righties is 244, 335, 407. That's certainly not elite, but it's far from terrible for a same-sided guy. Against lefties, 289, 376, 541. That is elite. He has absolutely clobbered left-handed pitching. And the Mariners have not done well against any kind of pitching, but in particular against lefties, I have always had very little confidence. The homer away splits. Is he taking advantage of the home park? Does he play in a home park that doesn't help him? Well, his home park stats in 291 games, 258, 351, 451. That's an 801 OPS. Away from Tropicana and a little bit St. Louis, 255, 341, 434. That's a 774 OPS. Batting average on balls in play, if you're curious, at home, 310, away, 326. All right. He's been a much better hitter over his career in the second half of the year. 751 OPS in the first half, 831 in the second. Let's see. There's nothing real interesting here in terms of batting average stuff, but batting order stuff, it's worth pointing out. It's an 875 OPS leading off. Could you see Randy Arozarena with his patience and his speed leading off? I think you could. Batting second, 762 OPS. Batting third, 813 OPS. Batting fourth, only a 716 OPS. That appears to be where he's the least comfortable and just so happens to be where he's gotten the second most plate appearances. Batting fifth, a 757 OPS. A very small sample of batting sixth, but he's hit 308, 416, 646. That's a 1.062 OPS. He has been a guy who early in counts has just shellacked pitchers. First pitch, he's hitting 366, 391, 693. 1-0 count, 304, 300, 559. It's always funny when you see the on-base percentage lower. I think those are the splits that we really care about here, right? Except for one. There's one thing we got to talk about with Randy Arozarena, and it's one of the things I'm most excited. There are not a lot of guys who have been to the postseason every year of their career. And Randy Arozarena's career is pretty short. But Randy Arozarena has done it every year. Now, in 2019 with the Cardinals, he got all of five plate appearances, and he didn't get a hit. He did get on base once. He drew a walk, stole a base. Let's talk about Randy Arozarena from 2020 to 2023. In 2020, in the wild card series, Randy Arozarena went 4 for 8 and hit 500, 556, 1,000. In the ALDS, Randy Arozarena hit 421, 476, 895. In the World Series, in the ALCS, which he won the MVP for, 321, 367, 786, 4 homers. In the World Series, which they lost, it wasn't because of Randy Arozarena. In his 6 games in the World Series, he hit 364, 462, 773. The next year, they don't advance past the ALDS, but guess what? He hits 333, 474, 600 with 1 homer. He had 3 homers, by the way, in that World Series and 4 homers in the Wild Card Series the year before, in case I didn't say that. 2022, he doesn't have as much fun. If you don't remember, Tampa Bay really struggled to score against Cleveland in that series. He went 1 for 9, on-base percentage of 200. Okay. 2023, they only play 2 games again. 375, 375, 500. In 9 career postseason series, this guy has hit 336, 414, and another nice 690 slugging percentage. That's a 1.104 OPS and 11 homers in 33 games. I know some of you are going to say, Chris, that doesn't really matter if they're not going to the postseason. You're going to say, Chris, those numbers are still a very small sample. Nah, this is a big game player. This is a guy who on the biggest stage has shown that he can compete with anyone. And I'm sorry. I know this is me being as anti-analytical as I can be. It matters. I have seen so many Mariners pressing at the plate right now. Randy Arozarena ain't going to press. Randy Arozarena is going to impress. I've loved this guy for a long time. He's someone I've mentioned as a trade target ad nauseum for the Seattle Mariners. He's flawed. He doesn't fix everything. But the Seattle Mariners got a lot better today. Not just for 2024. They got better for 2024, 2025, and 2026. The Seattle Mariners got better today. And I'm thrilled. Now, let's talk about what they gave up. And Mile Y enthusiasts will know that I released my top 15 prospects today. And one of the players they gave up was on that list. Aiden Smith, a guy who has hit very well for Modesto, has shown a really strong approach, was one of my favorite picks of that draft class. I think he's got a chance for 4+ tools. The one tool he's missing from plus probably keeps him from being anything more than an average regular, and that's power. But the guy just has all. This is a nice pickup for Tampa Bay. Brody Hopkins, who I just happened to talk to a scout about just recently. Let me pull that up. So the Mariners took Aiden Smith with their 4th round pick. They took Brody Hopkins with their 6th round pick, and we'll talk about that more in a second. 18 appearances for Modesto, and that's not an easy place to pitch. A 2.90 ERA, 95 strikeouts, 40 walks, only 2 homers allowed. 207 average allowed, a whip of 1.22. So Brody Hopkins is really interesting because the 3rd pitch is still a bit of a work in progress here. But you are getting a pitcher that has 2 pitches that I think can be plus. And so did the guy that I spoke to. You know, not an elite fastball, but he can get it up to right around 94, 97. It used to be 97 was elite. Not anymore. Good slider. Change, very much a work in progress. Easy to see if they moved him to the bullpen, him being really good and moving quickly. It's also worth pointing out that Brody Hopkins is 22 years old, which is a little old for low A. Now, some of that has to do with the Mariners having guys in high A, double A, triple A. He wouldn't be in triple A or double A. He should probably be in high A, but the Mariners have kind of a logjam in those situations. It's a good player. It's not a great pitching prospect, but it's a good pitching prospect. The pedigree, we don't know. And it could be a member of the 2024 draft class. Even if it was Ryan Sloan, and I don't think that they're giving up Ryan Sloan, but even if it was, I'd be fine with this trade. The Mariners moved their 4th round pick and their 6th round pick, and to be determined, for a guy who I think is an above average regular. If you don't think that's good value, I don't know what to tell you. Now, look, Tampa Bay has been really good at this. People like to say Tampa Bay doesn't lose trades. That's absolute nonsense. But they've done a good job. There's a reason why, even with their minuscule payroll and terrible ownership group, that they are always in contention. And it's because they have done an excellent job of recognizing value and accumulating depth. Depth. Why did I turn into Sylvester the Cat saying that word? Depth. Now it sounds weird. That doesn't mean that the Mariners didn't do really well here. You can't just assume because Tampa Bay made a trade, and I know some of you will do that the Mariners are going to lose this one. I think both teams could win this one. But as long as Randy Arozarena is healthy and a semblance of the player he's been since June, or the player that he's just been for the majority of his career, what a massive upgrade you're getting from what they've gotten in the corner outfield this year. I'm pumped. It's not enough. You still got to go get another bat, maybe 2. But the Mariners got better today, and you should be happy because I'm happy. I'm telling you how to feel, and it's happy. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. For those of you who are new to the channel, we recap every single Seattle Mariner game. Hit join if you want to join to get a bunch of stuff, including prospect rankings. $4.99 a month. We do live chats every week. We do a bunch of cool stuff. Randy Arozarena is a Seattle Mariner, and I think that's pretty cool.